any items from the public? Need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Any questions on the purchase order? All right, no internal budget revisions, Mr. Davis?
No, sir, there are none.
We have one change in status. We have a new hire recommendation received from Mike Lang, Chief Court Marshal, for John Carball as a Deputy Court Marshal with an annual salary of $29,375 effective December 1st, 2019. Any questions on that? We have approval minutes. Everyone was present for October 31st. Any changes or corrections? We have the county council calendars. As soon as I get it. We'll be here, we won't be here next Thursday. It's Thanksgiving.
We will be here
Next Thursday, yes, I'm sorry, the week after we won't be here. So 21st we'll be here on 9:30. And then boards and commissions, we have fire board tonight here in the chambers at 6:30. We have home consortium tomorrow at 9:30.
That's been moved to the 22nd.
22nd, okay. On Monday, at 4 p.m., Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority, 4 p.m. Health Board, 6 p.m. Airport Authority, 6 p.m. Planning Commission, 9 a.m. WR&R on Tuesday the 19th. The councilperson Mock will be on that. 11:30 a.m. Parks and Rec, 5 p.m. Sewer District, 6 p.m. Stormwater. Wednesday the 20th at 3 p.m. Senior Services, 6 p.m. Solid Waste Authority. Any changes or corrections?
Mr. President, if I may, just so for the council's information, Council President Copenhaver has indicated he will not be here next week, the 21st, and also will not be available the 22nd for canvass. We have canvass scheduled for 9:00 a.m. on Friday the 22nd downstairs in voters registration. Just want to make sure that we have council members available. Also on December 5th and December 12th, Councilperson Barnhart will be out of the area, and
What?
he will not be
Out of the country.
out of the country.
Yeah, they're saying, I gotta go.
Make sure you can get back in,
Well, that's a question.
huh?
That is a question.
The other question I have is, that would only give us one more meeting yet this month, and possibly 4 meetings in December. However, December 26th, the day after Christmas, is a Thursday. My question to the council is, do you want to meet on the 26th, or do you just want to cancel that meeting?
I'd say cancel it.
Me too.
The majority, we have, as you know, that week between Christmas and Thanksgiving, we have a lot of folks that are trying to get vacations and things like that in. So our recommendation would be that you not meet, but we'll do whatever the council
Well,
wants.
I would reserve it in case, something comes up, I would indicate no.
Okay.
You never know.
All right.
Anything else on that?
No, sir.
We have nothing from Mr. Hess this morning. Actually, let me back up. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made, seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to board and meeting reports. Mr. Barnhart.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. The only meeting that I had scheduled was the water board couldn't make it, but I understand it was a short meeting, and I'll let it go at that.
All right. Ms. Mock.
Had a lot of things kind of going this week. Farmland protection met on Tuesday evening. We're trying to wade through some of the changes that are going on with Farm Bill and all these other things to clarify some of the funding. We're also working with land grant of Jefferson County Landmarks Association over there with the legal defense fund and a review. So we need certain types of insurance. It's called terra firma insurance. So there's a process for us to do that. We must have have a strategic plan and belong to all this stuff. So it's a matter of paperwork. You know how that is. You got to get all your ducks in a row for that type of thing. So, just very gingerly working through all of the processes, and we're hoping that very soon that we're gonna have a couple more of farm protected properties here real soon. So it's very aggressive as far as the amount of work. Unfortunately, the paperwork is 10 times higher than the farm, I think, sometimes. The other thing was that I had CBB, which met Wednesday, and of course they are moving forward with this time of year. They start putting out next year's projects as far as the West Virginia advertising for tourism and all of that type of stuff that they're working on. The Historical Society is going to be coming up with some Christmas activities that will be held there on that particular property. The library is going to be hosting the wreaths for Christmas and all of that through Main Street. And the George Washington Trail, there will be couple members from the CBB there. It went defunct here a couple of years ago, and so there is a group now that wants to resurrect that. So they will be attending that opportunity. And then the Roundhouse meeting last night, they proceeded to vote to take the lowest bid. Between the lowest bid, which will cover the bathroom, the sprinklers, and the electrical system updates that is needed there for that particular property, and it goes to $411,000. We have to so that's moving forward. They're meeting with the state today.
Weren't you gonna, since you have to pay unwage and for the.
They went
Thanks,
back
but-
and checked the wages and stuff with the folks that were involved, as far as our overview, and they came into about a 10% difference, and they were afraid to bid because we had good 6 bids. We were afraid we were going to lose the low bidder because it's very close, and they were told that for 10%, 15%, nobody's going to bid. So it was crazy, but that's what happened. Under the events with the Roundhouse coming up, the Irish festival will be March 28th. We now have the School of Rock also as a performer, so trying to get as many groups involved as local, and so it's been an interesting week. And the Matthews Bronze Company, I'm still working on the details of exactly what they want for measurements, so they can give us a close estimate on what it's going to cost to restore the Doughboy. So I'm waiting for that information out. So thank you.
Restore and relocate or just restore?
They're going to do nothing but restore. They don't do anything else. The other side, we're working, Steve Catlett is working with some people locally that have big things to build with just moving stuff, and we're going to work from that standpoint. I've got to get the estimate on that first.
Mr. Baker,
No meetings.
Mr. Gallier.
Had a development authority meeting yesterday. Have a couple new prospects actually added to the list. Have a couple of prospects that look like businesses could pan out here any day, any week. Some really good things happening out there. We received a matching grant that we applied for the design of the Harold Drive project, to put a road in there to access the back of the commons and hook up to Harold Drive and access a lot of vacant property, as well as access the back of Blue Ridge College. So it's good to see that we got that. That was announced on Monday down in Hurricane. I think that's how you say it.
Hurricane.
Huh?
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Yeah, gotta say quickly, Perkin.
Hurricane at the maintenance shed down there with Shelley Moore, and I think we had there was a real good attendance down there. I was unable to go, but we did have our development authority president as well as Sandy Hamilton went to that, and I think Bill Clark joined them, so it was good to see that, and I think, and I may be wrong, but I think that's the first grant that Berkeley County has gotten from the Department of Transportation, so that was really nice too. Other than that, that's all I had.
Did attend a ribbon cutting.
Did attend the ribbon cutting, yeah, Orsini's Appliances. Yep, did attend, that was he's had a real busy, I did attend that ribbon cutting and then had to run into town because they had the window unveiling,
That's right.
in,
Flowers Unlimited.
at Flowers Unlimited, yep, which is a really big deal. They actually shut the block down this time. They shut the street down on both ends. I think that's the first time they've ever done that.
It was,
Yeah.
I tell you, the lines that's always there and the folks that come in, because I used to have the store opposite, we would have a window at the same time and everything. It was absolutely phenomenal then, and it's gotten larger and larger.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big deal for them. They make a good bit of profit. A lot of people rolling through there. Have you ever been in there? It's one of those places where you got to walk with your elbows in. You know what I mean?
I'm not allowed to go
We
in.
don't take our grandchildren, right?
Yeah. You
I'm
don't
not
knock
allowed to go
anything
in.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place. Yep. All right, just present time, I don't have anything to report on any meetings that I've been involved with, but, do you have, any activity on, board and commission vacancies?
I would like to make a motion to appoint Dina Morgan to the Roundhouse Authority.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded, any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, and I see Kenneth Matson has resigned from the Roundhouse Authority this month.
Yeah, he has decided that, he's just too busy, so, I'd like to send him a letter of thank you for his service.
I'd also like to see if we can go ahead and set an interview up for Ronnie Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
And I'd like to appoint Nick Deal to the Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion been made, seconded, any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And all the members of the LEPC board, we go through all them, or? Automatically.
Well, we did that, but we have another interview today.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry about that. Well, I see.
And I think it is pretty much, they are appointed by the state still, we're just basically getting to know you.
Right.
I'm sorry? Okay.
You actually are asking for your,
We are.
to
We
submit
gotta
them
make
to
a
the
motion
state.
for-
Correct.
Okay.
Are we waiting for all of them? Is that the idea?
Yes, sir. I think you have.
Miss Campbell, I think is the last one, right? Huh?
Miss Christine Jackson.
I'm sorry, you're Miss Campbell. Yes, Miss Jackson, I'm sorry. Okay. Any other activity? And we have, Mrs. Mock, honorary county councilperson.
Okay, Miss Lloyd Campbell, you want to come up here, please? Tell them which school you go to and your activities and any of your plans, what you like.
Hello, my name is Lily Campbell. It's very nice to meet all of you. I'm an 8th grade student in Martinsburg South Middle School. I participate in many activities at my school, including South Spirit Show Choir. I do my school's yearbook. I'm part of the news team, and also I do FCA and many more. I'm very glad to be part of this, and thank you for this opportunity.
Well, you're gonna be a public speaker one day.
Yeah, she does well. Great
Yeah,
grader.
yeah.
Yes. We've had high school students that had a little tougher time.
I'll just let her start running the meeting after this.
Okay. You want to turn this way and raise your right hand? I state your name.
Lily Campbell,
Do swear and affirm
do swear
that I will uphold the Constitution
that I will uphold the Constitution
of the United States and West Virginia.
of the United States and West Virginia.
That I will work hard to fulfill responsibilities
Responsibilities
of the office of honorary council member
office of council member
to which I have been appointed.
to which I will be
So help me God.
so help me
All right, next on our agenda is an interview for Board of Commissioners position vacancies for Christina Jackson for the LEPC. Please. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Christina. We've heard a lot of good things about the LEPC last time.
Well, first of all, good morning.
Good morning.
I am the Organizational Safety and Emergency Management Officer for Shenandoah Valley Medical System, which you know locally as Shenandoah Community Health. What you may not know is that we have 10 locations, 9 in West Virginia and 1 in Virginia. We have almost about 38,000 patients that we serve. I've been serving on the LEPC here for the last few years. Most recently, I am the current co-chair for that. I am also the initiative facilitator for the Stop the Bleed project, putting these kids, Jacobs kids, into all of the schools. We, at our my place of work, we've partnered with Tuscarora, and so we were providing those kids to that elementary school, and we've challenged other businesses to provide kits for their school. So that's the challenge is going on right now. In the past, I've also chaired the Vulnerable Populations Committee, subcommittee, for the LEPC here. And in that work, we were trying to reduce the call on resources for folks who were dependent on O2, dialysis, home health, and hospice during the times of an emergency within the county, particularly weather-related emergencies. So we were able to reduce that by having some aggressive programming and planning with them so that we get those folks moved long before the snow hits, for instance. That was an example there. Then, of course, with the LEPC, one of the things I think, and I come from a system that's much larger in for instance, the county I served in my past. I've been doing emergency management for about 30 years. It's just under 18,000 square miles. That included the Grand Canyon and every kind of trafficking in the state of Arizona, as you can imagine. And so,
Even mule problems.
that's right. That's right. And so, in coming here and working with the LEPC, of course, it's a different setup because they have different challenges than we did there. One of the things I find with the LEPC here is how inclusive they are of the other agencies that are now required through the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid to have very proactive training and exercise programs in emergency management. And there's a number of particular types of plans that we're required to have. So the LEPC here has been very inclusive in bringing them into exercises and helping to train them in the incident command system, because that's not something in which they're familiar. But it is something that is important, because if they do not have robust plans and show that they are able to exercise them and improve on their actions, just the same with us, they would no longer be able to bill Medicare or Medicaid for their services. So CMS has put some real teeth into that requirement, and the LEPC is working very hard to be very inclusive. So we have been working and have developed and put together exercises that include home health and hospice and dialysis centers and nursing homes and every county office you can think of, and most city offices as well. So there really is a collaborative effort that we're bringing to the table. And I'm proud to say we have really robust attendance. There's usually at least 20-some people there. Even if they're not at the council, they're very interested, and they have an equal voice with us.
Good. Well, thank you for being here today. You
Yep.
sound like you're a very busy person, as always, and the old saying is, if you want to get things done, you ask the people that's busy.
Yes.
So, anybody have any questions?
I'm just curious, what is an environmental sociologist?
Well, we look at how folks interact with their environment around, particularly in times of disaster. What are the things that are most important to them? What are the resources that they need? How are those resources prioritized in the remediation and recovery periods? And how we can empower populations around them to be as self-serving as they possibly can, and then in turn to serve their communities to make it stronger.
Sounds like that fits right in with the LEPC.
Yes. Yes.
I want to thank you for being involved. A number of years ago, I used to have an assisted living facility in Heartland that had fire.
Mhm.
And all the facilities, from my standpoint, I brought in, recruited my facility, and we went over and moved people in Heartland. We brought all of our staff in there. So as with LAPC, it's been involved for a long time as far as inclusive of bringing the other groups in.
I remember that, because the ambulance authority did a lot of transports to North Middle School.
Yeah, the middle school was shut down, and then they transported people, and I was taking them out of the facility.
Well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I apologize for not being here. Last week I was presenting at a conference in Florida. I know.
Life was tough.
It was tough, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it's 84 degrees in Florida today. down
Yes, and humid.
around CST.
And humid.
And humid, yes.
Yeah.
That's a cap
Pool was
day.
great.
No humidity up here,
No.
not a problem.
I'll take the humidity. I'll go to Florida.
Okay, okay.
All right, well, thank you, and.
You're
we'll-
welcome.
I think we're probably ready to make the motion to appoint all interviewees to the LAPC.
Well,
Or
she,
move forward, I should say.
she does have one reference here that I
Question?
yeah, question. I'm just kidding. Jeff Ryman's a good friend.
Oh.
Well, I question him as being a friend of yours.
Well. Okay, you got it.
Well, hopefully the SWAT team leader made up for that. Is that okay? Okay, good.
All right, we need a motion to move forward with the candidates for the LEPC, because we don't make that appointment, the
No,
state
sir,
does.
we'll just forward the
We're just
names to
gonna-
the
right,
state.
Okay. All right, entertain it.
I'll make a motion to, accept all of the appointments that have been reviewed for the LEPC. You want me to list them down?
Nah, just refer. All right, motion's been made. Do I have a
Second.
second? Seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
There's 11 of them.
Big, pretty big.
Congratulations.
All right, let's take a break and take photos. back in session. Next on our agenda is Sandy Hamilton, Director of Berkeley County Development Authority, update progress report. Sandy, it's always a pleasure to see you, because you always bring good news.
And good food.
Thank you. Well, 'tis the season. I'm heading into Thanksgiving, and certainly, before I even give you any information, I'm thankful for the support of all of you, because, we're finding over and over and over again that if we're not working together, it's not going to work. So I'm appreciative of that.
You know you're doing a good job in attracting businesses when some of the, very small amount of people from the public sector are saying, all you're doing is trying to industrialize Berkeley County. Well, you know what? Look at all the industrial businesses that left Berkeley County, that made Berkeley County and the city of Martinsburg what it was, and
Right.
and now we're just honored and blessed to have them come back.
Absolutely. And, I every day feel like I really have a huge advantage in that I've always lived here, and I know those stories. And, it's the old adage about, using history so that it doesn't repeat itself and to learn from it. And so hopefully, having that background of being here in the county my entire life, my father retired from Corning Glass Works of 38 years. I was the first person on the job there.
Your father and my father know each other, I'm sure.
Yes. So, yeah, it gives you a strong history and a background, and when I'm talking with new prospects coming into the area, particularly manufacturers, it makes it really easy for me, to talk about, the work ethic of who we have here in our workforce, and now, the support we have of our elected officials and our community members, and I think it gives me a little better perspective. I grew up in South Berkeley County, graduated from Musselman, graduated from Shepherd. I've lived in Martinsburg the last 30 years. Went to church in Hedgesville 40 years. I kind of feel like I have a cross-section that, gives me an opportunity to listen to what people want and what their concerns are and what's going to benefit our community. And I certainly, as being a lifelong resident here, it's important to me, what we have here. So not everything's a good fit for our county, but if it's not, it's usually not for the business either. So we don't want to set somebody up to fail.
Right.
So we're seeing an influx of more manufacturing, and we're seeing more diversity in the companies that are looking at Berkeley County, which I think is exciting. Very busy, a lot of prospects, and we're getting really close to some major announcements that'll be beneficial to our county and to our citizens.
And when we say beneficial, Sandy, again, I'm gonna take a moment to talk about it. The benefits that we receive from that is the payroll that these companies are bringing in. They're all environmentally friendly businesses, right? I mean, they've got the DEP and they've got the EPA as approval, and so we're very cautious about that. But it's when people would say, you enter into a pilot program with some businesses coming in town. Why? Well, the reason why is because the payroll that they bring and what they add to the community that's indirectly affecting the livelihood and the lifestyle of Berkeley County. And it's crazy. We've all lived through the most recent recession that hurt a lot of businesses and the people that live in Berkeley County because they lost so many jobs. And now we're bringing Berkeley County back and giving the young people a chance to stay here. So thank you for doing such a good job.
Well, they also make it more affordable for the residents as well, because they take on a large part of the infrastructure costs, those type of things that they're feeding into the system that help so that if you have a bedroom community has to supply everything by themselves, where if you have businesses involved, they can feed into that whole pool and offset that cost so that the residents don't have to pay so much.
And it wasn't too long ago, there was one business that would advertise for help all the time. It was like $12 an hour. Now they're advertising $17 an hour. So,
Right.
the demand is there for
Making
for
it
good
much more
employees.
competitive wage, and
Right.
yeah, and the benefits and the training programs, and it's been a good connection between our educational facilities and the businesses. to ensure that, you know, the people that are coming out of our schools, whether in some cases out of high school or community college or universities, that they're going to have the skills to be able to work a job in their own community. I mean, if they choose to leave, I don't want them to choose to leave because there's not a job here for them. If they choose, it needs to be for other reasons. So, you know, that's what we're looking at.
So, tell us how busy you are.
I only have 3 minutes. I meant to.
Yeah, but
I've,
you're not supposed to start until another 6 minutes. So you're
that's
good to
true.
go.
That's
You got 9 minutes at least.
9 minutes at least. Well, I pick up on average 3 additional new prospects every week that are viable. We have more interest now in some of our other areas, like the Cumbo Yards property that we have. It's got some renewed interest. We have just about 50 acres left there across from Macy's that's available. And right now I have 3 very promising manufacturers looking to be on that piece of property.
And that has all utilities there.
Yes. Now, the water and sewer, I mean, it's all available there. And actually, we had sold a corner of that property about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Yep.
And we're working together with that consumer to, when they bring everything there, we'll have everything right to the site. But, I mean, it's up to the site now. So, yeah, it's, and it still has the access to 81. You've got rail there. You've got gas. So yeah, it's shored up pretty well. It's the only major issues is the terrain there,
Right.
but that can be overcome.
That's not an issue for the state of West Virginia.
No,
It's
no,
good
that's
for
a really
neighborhood
flat
breakfast.
piece of property compared to the rest of West Virginia,
Yeah.
for sure. Which reminds me, along the lines of infrastructure, I did just go Sunday with Bill Clark and my board president, Helen Harris, to Taze Valley, where we received a grant, a federal EDA grant on Monday there in Putnam County for the Harold Drive infrastructure, to do a feasibility study. That it's a matching grant that the Development Authority will be working with Region 9 to see what we can do to help that situation, not only from an economic standpoint, but certainly from a safety standpoint. So we're excited that we'll be able to continue to move forward and get some resolution to start. So, yeah, and we have certainly still a lot of interest in the Taylor Station property, and I have probably altogether just under 300 acres there at Taylor Station, including the parcel that we purchased on Novak Drive. Getting some really diverse industries and businesses interested there, which is exciting to me, because I don't want to overtax the workforce and don't want to create a lot of competition between the employers that we currently have. Although, you know, certainly with the wage situation, that can be very beneficial to our
Diversity is
citizens.
really a good thing.
It's a good thing. So I did cut my list of about 45 projects to about 25 now, because some are in a holding pattern right now for various reasons that have nothing to do with our county. It's just an internal situation regarding trade or regarding, you know, something with their finances. But I still think 25 projects is probably enough.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is when they decide to pull the trigger, it's they could plan for years, but once they decide, typically a business wants to move, they want to move fast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't say we had quite a meeting yesterday afternoon here in the county, and there are a lot of takeaways from it, but one I want to be sure that's expounded on is, you know, it's been a goal of mine, and we discussed it yesterday at our board meeting, which Dan was there, and but one of my goals is to ensure that when we have prospects coming in from the outside, that when they look at Berkeley County, they don't see the Berkeley County Council, the Berkeley County Development Authority, the Airport Authority, sewer, water. They don't see a whole bunch of entities, but that they see one unit, a body that's just there to help them to determine if we're the right location for them and the right fit. And more I see that being successful, and I think that's got to be the way that we operate. I don't go to these. In the meeting we had yesterday, I mean, we had 30 people with less than a week's notice that showed up to talk to a prospect about any question they had on what it's going to be like to do business here and how we will work with them to make all their goals realized. So when you send that kind of message, immediately, you know, I went from about 35 people in our conference room to just the prospect team of about 8 and myself. And they looked at me and they said, we've been all over the world and we have never, ever experienced what just happened here this afternoon. And this is not what we were expecting. And they had us kind of a stern look. And I said, okay, you scared me a little bit. It was good, right? It was good. And he said, no, it was great. We have never, ever seen a group of people come together and work in this way and answer our questions. So we're definitely in the right place.
Yeah.
So, and that makes all the difference, because that's, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the way other entities that are comparable are reacting, and to their shame, but, you know, I'm not going to feel any sympathy for them.
Well,
But that's, you know, that's a goal, and I see us moving more and more toward that we're connected, and everything we do, I mean, none of us are on an island, so to work together just makes sense.
there's so many entities out there that think about me and I instead of we and us. And, you know, we always try to strive, it's about the team. It's about the community.
Right.
Well, what I like is, you know, not only is it Berkeley County, but Morgan, Jefferson, Frederick, Washington, and even outside of them, speaking of Macy's, where they bust them in from God knows where, you know, it's, you know, quite a diverse area that we're central to.
You know, and I mean, there's talk of other states around us that the governors are sending them our way to talk to us about businesses, so
Right.
it's a good thing.
So, a lot of projects, a lot of good things coming up.
Are you
Uh,
having any success with having a pad-ready situation for anybody, or?
Well, if things could slow down and I could catch my breath and we could, at this point, you know, someone talked to me about marketing and I said, yeah, I've got all these ideas, but, you know, my phone's doesn't stop ringing. And it's funny, even our trip over the weekend when we were headed down to Tays Valley to get the award, and they made made a big deal, which I'm glad they did, about we were the farthest to travel to be there. But on the way, I was driving, and when we arrived at the hotel Sunday night, Helen Harris said, you know, my board president, she said something to me about work and how busy was I, and, you know, we were on a Sunday driving, and I said, well, I from my email from Friday night when I left the office at 8:15 until Sunday night, I had 490 emails. And I caught those up by Monday morning at 9 when we got the award, but then by Monday night, I had an additional 230 emails. So and then the voicemail calls, and so, you know, I think it's a wonderful idea, and at some point we may be able to follow along that line, but there's so much activity right now that there's not time. And it doesn't make a lot of sense when you have 3 or 4 different entities vying for a piece of property. You know, let them put there what they need on it, what they want when they make that decision. So,
But don't sell yourself short either, because we're in the middle of trying to put together a marketing
oh,
strategy.
yes, absolutely.
And with that marketing strategy is it exciting? To me, it's not that everything else that's happening out there isn't exciting to see the accomplishments, but to be able to put together a marketing strategy and look at the future where we're going to be able to go after what we believe the community needs, not wait for and pick which one the community needs, but actually go after and seek the type of businesses that the board thinks is going to make the quality of life better in our area.
Well, and along that line, I should clarify that at least 25% of those 430 emails were responses because I've reached out to businesses that we've talked about in our marketing and our business development committees about what would be good to have in Berkeley County. And actually, I've just had informal discussions, family reunions and at ball games and events in the county, and said, if you could have your choice, just give me your wish list on what you'd want to be here that we don't have. And people love to tell you that. And I keep a mental image of what they are, and then I go back and I find out who are the key people I need to reach out to with those businesses, and let me shoot them a message and let them know I'm here and ask them if they can give me a couple minutes of their time. So yeah, at least, those emails aren't just coming from, they're coming because I've reached out and said,
So there's
hey,
marketing going on.
there's marketing going on for sure, yeah.
You just,
Or I might have 20 emails a day, but that's okay. I want them to respond. I don't want it to end up in their spam and they say, where's Berkeley County, West Virginia? And I want them to be drawn to take a closer look and to give me a call and to see what we have to offer. And that's been a direct result of a very concentrated effort from our board, and particularly our committees, to say, let's be a little bit more proactive instead of reactive, and let's see what we want here, and not just have a mission, but have a vision that accompanies that, so that we can do what's best. And I don't know that we're going to be ahead of it, because it's a great place to be and word's getting around, but we're doing our best.
the other thing, Dan was talking about earlier was, there's a decent, not near as much, I think 70% of Jefferson County commutes to the DC area. Is that
In
right?
the 70s
About
and-
30% of ours.
Almost 50%.
Ours?
Yeah, in
Okay.
ours. But probably a bunch of ours goes to Jefferson County.
Right. So wouldn't it be nice for them, rather than us be a bedroom committee, for this to be the place that they work and live and play?
What an interesting concept, because
Yeah.
actually, for the businesses I'm reaching out to are 4 businesses that those residents leave for in the Northern Virginia area. And if we get them in Berkeley County, I think they'd much rather travel west than travel east.
It makes
And,
sense.
yeah, makes perfect sense.
I've always said that. Why does anybody want to locate in DC when they could bring their business here and have a
Yep.
much better quality of life? And not only does that improve the workforce morale, but also improves the youth of having their
Absolutely.
parents at home rather than,
And being able to be involved in their activities and
Right.
to just be there.
right?
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah, it's going to have such a ripple effect all the way down through the family structure in our communities. And even if they don't have children, they'll be able to be involved in a volunteer capacity and be more involved in what we have going on in our community if they're able to work within the community.
yeah.
Sandy, I wanted to tell you something. I got a call from one of the newspapers in the Washington area, and the reporter wanted to know how was Amazon on the county line affecting Berkeley County. And I said, well, it's just distribution warehousing. We've got Macy's, and we've got all kinds of other things. We've got P&G and all these things. He said, well, that means the workforce in Berkeley County is all warehousing and distribution. I said, no, the number government, medical, and education is the issues that we have our biggest employers. And I said, why are you calling me, asking me about what's going on with Amazon? I'm in Berkeley County, it's in Winchester and Frederick County. And I said, besides that, when are you gonna do the story about the Amazon in Montgomery County, Maryland? And there's a dead silence. And I said, hello? He said, they're putting Amazon in Montgomery County, Maryland. I said, you better check your facts. And I hung up. So I just thought you would find that, because they wanted to pigeonhole us as nothing but warehousing and distribution, and we are not. We're across the board.
Well, that kind of ties into what, Dan and Doug were talking about with marketing. And I've said and thought for years, we really need to continue to do a better job of selling ourselves. That's just not acceptable. And, blowing our own, and I got to get better at that, honestly, because and just like you, our motivation isn't for self. But sometimes you have to put it out there to get the message across so that they get the right message, because they're going to get a message.
Right.
And if you're not directing it and you're making sure that it's an accurate, correct message of what we've got going on here, they're going to get the wrong one.
I just
Well, and it's the message that will come from P&G and from the company we met with yesterday to other companies about what they found here. It's gonna sell this county. That's a big thing. But I'd say you having put that meeting together so quickly yesterday that was absolutely the best meeting I've attended in a long time.
Thank you for being there.
And you obviously are doing it right.
Well, as we told them, we don't do it wrong.
That's right, we do.
I did tell them that. And, you know, I think they confessed to everybody around the table. They told my secret. They said the first time we met with you, you said Berkeley County was the best. It shouldn't be a secret.
That's right.
All right, well, thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. I really appreciate you.
All right, keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Make sure that Maryland newspaper writes that down.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do items from the public. Any items from the public? We do need executive session, is that right?
Yes, sir, we have two separate issues to discuss in executive session, or 11 o'clock. Client is not here yet, I just checked, but it'll give the media time to tear their.
Okay, all right, need a motion to go in executive session for real estate matters.
Second.
And there will be no decisions, discussion after executive session.
We'll take a
Have you sent in the message to see?
We need a shower.
Well, thank you.
Nick, I actually just need to be 4 Jan.